Okay, so I've been using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and the Z Flip 6 for a while now, maybe just over a month or so. And in this video, I'm going to be combining them into one in terms of the review. And the reason why I'm doing that is not because I'm being lazy and I don't want to do them separately, but I feel like the updates that Samsung brought this time aren't that substantial for me to do a dedicated video on each device to talk about them. In fact, they're very similar in terms of the updates that they brought. Some of the changes involved things like larger display, things like a bit taller, marginal, size differences. And then on the flip, we have things like a better camera on there. The front cover is still pretty much the same as the Z Flip 5. So it's very incremental in terms of the upgrades. In fact, for me, I think the main upgrades for them is bringing all the Galaxy AI features into these two devices, into the ecosystem of what we have as the Fold series. So that makes a lot of sense. But for someone who's out on the market for a new foldable device, this is probably not something that you're going to buy if you're coming from the Fold 5 or the Flip 5. You're going to have to wait for the next one, perhaps. While I'm not going to go through all the specs, they're all available online. You can go on Samsung's website or whatever, you can find them very easily. It is worth noting that this is rocking Snapdragon 888, which is pretty much geared towards AI. But when you then bring the competitors into the equation, so for example, even like OnePlus Open with a larger front cover or cover display, which I prefer, or you look at the new Google Fold 9, Pixel 9 Fold, whatever. If you look at that device as well, you see that it's got, larger display on the front. For example, it actually has a new Tensor processor in there with a dedicated on-device AI chip as well. And then you come back to this and then you realize, actually, is it worth me paying nearly £2,000 to upgrade to the Z Fold 6, for example, or is it worth me getting the Z Flip 6 at all? Some of the things I love about the devices are the fact that the design looks actually really good in terms of how slick it is and how just refined it feels. I love this symmetrical design in terms of, if you look at the Fold here, we have this near bezel-less display, but obviously we can't go fully bezel-less because that would hinder the user experience in terms of usability. But I love the brighter display. It's nice and bright, nice and sharp. There's no problems there at all. The creases are still there. You can still almost see it. It just depends on which lighting condition you're using it in. So as you shimmer against light, you can still see the hinge there. But that's not a problem because the more you use it, you just forget that it's there really, because it becomes less of an issue. I also don't think anyone goes on the market to buy some of these devices without actually already preparing themselves that these are foldable devices. It might have a crease in there. But having said that though, if you look at the new or Motorola Razr Fold stuff already, they have near creaseless display, which is incredible with what they've done. So hopefully Samsung will work on that and make that much better. The hinge has been improved as well, so making this a lot more durable. So durability and design is no problems here at all. But when it comes to that durability though, I've been using it for a bit and I already have some scratches on the covered screen on both devices actually. In fact, on the Flip, it's a bit deeper. And this is me using it just like anyone, average Joe who buys one of these would use it on day-to-day basis. It's not like I was chucking it into a bag full of keys or coins or anything like that. I don't carry coins. My keys are usually in my side bag. So I don't understand why that's still an issue in terms of durability. That's not to say this is still not very durable when it comes to being a foldable device though. It's IP48, water and dust resistant, so which means you're going to struggle to get some dust or just particles in there that's going to start to affect the hinge design or anything like that. So that aside, durability is good. I wouldn't knock it at all. I would say in terms of the design, I think they've done well in terms of the design. I think it looks very premium. It looks very good. I love the hinge. The fact that you can also fold it to whichever level you want to fold it in without any issue. There's barely any wobble actually. There's no wobble there. It's very stiff and it's just nice the way that they've done that. I really like that. Let's talk about the camera though. So the camera on them, again on the Flip, they've improved the camera on there. They've brought the Fold is basically the Samsung Galaxy S24 camera on there. So in terms of hardware and all that kind of stuff. And they'll have that new updated Pro Vision stuff in terms of the software processing when it comes to the photography. But for me though, there's no problem taking photos on regular basis. If you're going to use the main camera, there's no problems there at all. Where these devices struggle is when it comes to the zoom, which is a shame really for me because these are classed as flagship fold devices. So when you're spending that sort of money on these, you want to have something that can offer a zoom, a good level of zoom as well, at least 5 times zoom that's optical. That would have been really nice. But I find that when I'm trying to zoom and stuff like that, I start to lose quality and I find that it's just not up to scratch for me when it comes to the zoom. But the rest of it though, I think is fine. The ultra wide has some distortion, so you still have to almost correct it if you want to correct it afterwards. But otherwise, I think camera in that department, they're fine as well. Videos are good as well. There's no issues at all. Low light photography, again, great. And video as well. They've done a really good job in those departments besides just that zoom capability. Let's talk about the AI feature, because at the moment, I think it's just a buzzword. Everyone's talking about AI, AI, AI. And we haven't really seen AI being used on devices in a way that people can actually relate up until now, because Samsung brought a whole toolbox full of AI features like translate, being able to generatively do stuff and generate backgrounds and stuff like that. Some of the stuff that's impressive is, for example, if I go into this picture here on the Fold, for example, there's this AI feature where I can add stuff to the image. So that's sketch to image. So here I can draw a plane, for example. So if I just do a rough sketch of a plane and then generate. It would take a bit of time to do it, but it would do it anyway. So it's a bit of a fun thing to do. So this picture here doesn't have a plane flying on the sky. So this should be able to generate a plane, as you can see on the screen right now. So now we have a plane on the screen. I can scroll across and select different types as I wish to do so, or different directions. And you can just see how pretty cool that is. So even though it takes a bit of time to do, it still works. So I love features like that. But the question remains, am I going to be using this on a day-to-day basis? Is this something I'm going to use all the time to justify the price tag? Again, I'm not sure about that. That's a question you need to ask yourself, because the device is good, don't get me wrong, but the price point for me means that some of the selling points, which is mainly the AI features, I don't think they are big enough for me to upgrade to this or go out and buy me one of these right now. Maybe I'll wait for the next one. Maybe there's a new Snapdragon processor coming up that will offer just a bit more, who knows? That's something that I would rather wait for than go into this one, especially if you're coming from the predecessor to this one, to the previous generation. But otherwise, I think this is going to be a short and sweet review, because for me, some of the stuff that I normally talk about, these devices do not lack in those areas. When it comes to performance, gaming on these devices, excellent. You can play Call of Duty, you can play Genshin Impact, you can do multiple applications at the same time. The camera is decent, it's not a problem at all, although obviously the front, the main screen on the display camera on the Fold is not the best, but it's there if you need to do so. But you can use the main camera on there as well for selfies, because you can just use the front cover screen as a live view, for example. So that's pretty cool that you can do all that stuff. So the display is good as well. They're both bright. It offers good stuff. Software can do a bit of work in terms of the transition between the cover display up onto the main and vice versa, without having to download good luck or anything like that. It should be able to just be part of the software by now. Samsung have been doing this for a while now, so those things should be something that's not even should be spoken about anymore. But I don't want this video to sound all negative. I want this video to sort of just point out my experience with it, which is basically, I do like these devices. I wouldn't upgrade to them if I was coming from the predecessor. Camera's okay. Battery life is excellent, surprisingly, because on the Fold is not the biggest battery. I think it's like 4,400 milliamp hour battery. The charge speeds on both devices are not the fastest. Go watch Lover of Tech's video on charge speeds and stuff. But battery life are decent. Actually, they're not that bad. But other than that, screen's good as well. So there's lots of positives to take away as well. But the negative is just the fact that Samsung needs to give us a bit more. Even if it's just a camera, update the camera just a bit more so that we can have something to actually say, yes, I've paid £2,000 or so for these devices and I'm getting this substantial upgrades and not this minuscule marginal upgrades. But that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say about these devices. But yeah, I hope you've taken away something from it, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.